What's up, people? Today, you know what I'm saying, before I even get into what we going to cover, I just want to send out, a shout out to anybody that might have been affected by this. It's a touchy situation about the great cover. And that goes for both sides, street side, police side, whoever. Like, I'm not trying to offend nobody. I ain't trying to, take shots at anybody that's passed away or anybody that might have had something to do with this or, for whatever purposes. I'm just telling you what I remember from the street side, what I seen with my own eyes and what I witnessed and what I know of, compared to what the FBI files actually shows on the video.
So today we're going to take it back to 1995. Prince George County police officer was highlighting that security at a liquor store in my neighborhood, and a random dude just walked up and pretty much let him have it. He hit him with a Mac 11 16 times. As you're going to see in the video, Officer Novobilski didn't stand a chance. Let's go to the footage.
Then on April 26th, Officer John Novobilski of the Prince George's County, Maryland Police was hired to guard a liquor store in nearby Landover, a suburb of the District of Columbia. A masked gunman approached and fired at close range. He unloaded 16 rounds. The policeman never had a chance. Then he took the downed officer's 9mm pistol. From a nearby corner, a witness heard the shooting and called for help. But it would come too late. Officer Novobilski died instantly. Maryland police secured the area and interviewed the witness. There was no apparent motive, no warning, and the victim was a cop. The pattern seemed to match the two shootings in Washington. Maryland police made an arrest for the murder of their officer. There was no evidence linking the Maryland suspect to the two attacks on D.C. police. Special Agent Jay Abbott believed the D.C. attacker was still at large and could strike again at any moment.
So after the Novobilski murder at Palmer's, shit in my neighborhood got hectic, like crazy. Like, they was terrorizing them police. They ain't follow no laws. Like, they ain't care about no rights. Like, they was doing some foul shit out the way. For one, Prince George County Police locked up an innocent man. Not only did they lock up an innocent man, when they went to go arrest him, he was laying in bed with his girl. They threw his girl on one side of the bed, held her head that way so she couldn't see what was going on. Meanwhile, for 15-20 minutes, they held Slim on that side of the bed and beat him. I mean, they beat Slim so bad, like, when they showed him on the news, nobody even recognized him. Like, Slim really looked like Martin when he got beat up on that jump fighting the boxer, Thomas Hearns, Hitman Hearns. It was bad. Like, Slim was like really lumped up. That's one thing. But not only that, like, if you was walking down the street minding your business, like, say you going to the store or walking to your man's house, or man, the police roll up on you out of nowhere, deep, slam you, put you in handcuffs, take you down Palm Park. Palm Park, for those of y'all don't know, Palm Park is like Prince George County headquarters, which sits like right next to where the police officer got murdered at. And they take you down there, ask you questions about the murder of the police at Palmer's. I got snatched up a couple times, went down there, John. I'm like, a murder happened at Palmer's? That's news to me. I ain't hear nothing about that. I don't know. Like, nobody know nothing, because, like, that Slim acted on his own. Like, it wasn't even no Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't affiliated with my neighborhood, and he didn't frequent my neighborhood. He just happened to see the police there doing security, sitting in his car at the payphone, and hit him with the Mac 11. They also ran up in the houses. On my street in particular, they ran in the house. It was children, old ladies in that joint. No regards for, humanity. No regards for rights. Like, it was bad, man. Beat people up, slamming them. My homeboy, he got picked up by the police. They came, take him down Palm Park. They questioned him about the murders also. And at the time, he had a bush, but he had the Afro puffs all over his head, like little puffs with a rubber band around it. Well, because he didn't talk, they chopped two of his joints off. I lied to you not, man. Like, shit was crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And come to find out, like I said, the dude that they beat up and the dude they charged, he ain't even got nothing to do with it. He an innocent man. It's just a bad situation, man. Like, them police terrorized Landover during that time. 1985, I'm trying to tell you. That shit was just different. And at the time, Prince George County Police was known and being investigated on a lot of foul things. As far as, like, planting shit in people's car, planting shit in people's pocket, beating people up, shooting people, gassing up your charges. Like, you might get caught for something small, but time you get down to the courthouse, man, they done added like 12 other joints that you ain't even do. Like, I ain't even lying. They was being investigated for that. And they'd beat you up, they'd shoot you. PG County Police off the hook back in the day. But let's go ahead and get back to the footage.
We felt this person was probably going to try to kill another police officer somewhere in Washington, D.C. or in the vicinity. And it gave us real pause for concern that we weren't able to follow up any viable leads during that time.
On May 18th, 1995, while investigators continued their search in Washington, a young Maryland woman arrived at a Prince George's County precinct. Bruised and battered, Nadine McCrae explained to the police officer that she had been beaten by her boyfriend. Accompanied by a supportive friend, Nadine began to detail the vicious assault she received at the hand of Ralph McClain.
So 9 o'clock last night,
Agent Bammel recalls its severity.
McClain tried to kill McCrae, beat her into unconsciousness. He stuffed drugs into her.
So Slim Girl, she go to the police department and give a statement saying that her boyfriend beat her up. When he beat her, like, he kind of like messed herself up, because had she never even went into the police station, Slim might not have never been caught. Linking him to the murder of the police officer. Not only the murder of the police officer in Landover, but two shootings of two officers in the DC. So Slim was just like on a nut. Like, Slim was out there. Like, he was trying to be a cop killer for real. But anyway, let's go back to the
The county police officer issued an arrest warrant charging McClain with attempted murder.
For the next 24 hours,
He recommended that Nadine get a thorough medical examination. On the way out, Nadine's friend pleaded with her to tell the officer the reason McClain had almost beaten her to death. Nadine hesitated.
That's okay.
She was afraid of what else McClain might do if she said anything more. Reluctantly, she told the police officer what she knew. The night the sketch of the suspect appeared on the television news 3 months before. she was surprised to see McLean prying the braces off his teeth. When she questioned him, McLean screamed at her to mind her own business. According to Nadine, her boyfriend, Ralph McLean, was not only responsible for the shootings in Washington, he was also a cop killer.
Her boyfriend had advised her that they had the wrong person for the shooting that occurred in Landover, Maryland with Officer Novobilski.
She provided the break that agents were looking for.
Okay, Nadine, I'm going to call another detective who's handling this.
Nadine McCrae, so reluctant to speak at first, knew that now there was no going back.
I think she realized how dangerous the person was and was very willing to cooperate with us. Because I think at that point she also realized that her own life was in danger now, having revealed her knowledge of the subject.
Agents entered Ralph McLean's name into the NCIC, the National Crime Information Center, to find out if their suspect had any prior convictions. For Agent Bamble, the database revealed that McLean was no stranger to crime.
He had a long history of criminal activity here in Washington, D.C., totaling over 20 arrests. Those arrests were for some petty crimes, shoplifting, but they did escalate to assault on police officer, drug distribution type charges also.
Investigators secured a search warrant for McLean's apartment.
It was a very tense time just to go into that residence with the possibility that he could be there and with all the tension of realizing what they might find.
McLean wasn't home. Investigators began searching the apartment. Survivalist magazines, weapons manuals, and how-to guides for terrorist operations were strewn everywhere. The materials detailed how to conduct surveillance, conceal movements, and catch victims by surprise. They also discovered 9mm cartridges, the same type used in the assault that killed the Maryland officer. In a cabinet, they found more ammunition, this time for a .32 caliber weapon.
That's very important to us because the shooter of Sergeant Eric Hayes and Officer Vance Warren used a .32 caliber revolver in that shooting. Also, a manual for a MAC-11 assault weapon was found, and additionally, lots of writings of anti-police type hatred were found within the residence.
So at this point in time, they run in Slim house, and like I said, there was 2 police shootings in the district, as well as the murder that took place at Landover at the liquor store, Palmer's liquor store. And upon raiding his house, they find a manual for a MAC-11, which killed Novobilski in Landover. They found bullets for a .32, which shot the 2 officers in the district. So they basically got their suspect here, like, you know what I mean? So
this picture.
Investigators now had 2 witnesses who pointed to Ralph McLean as the cop killer.
At that point, we were armed with some very serious evidence. We had the girlfriend with the admission, we had hairs, and we drafted an affidavit for signature for a Superior Court judge, and in the middle of the night, we went out and we obtained that warrant.
But first, they had to find McLean. Investigators canvassed all of his known haunts. The suspected cop killer had apparently fled the area, and agents had no idea where he was headed. To find him, they looked to his girlfriend Nadine for help. She was under constant police protection since McLean had tried to kill her. Nadine spoke with McLean through his cell phone. He was not aware that investigators were listening.
You want to meet?
Through their conversation, Special Agent Jay Abbott and his team were able to track McLean's movements.
We were able to locate him at one point in the Fredericksburg, Virginia area, and we're very close to making an arrest at that time. But unfortunately, he was able to evade our attempts.
Their conversations continued over 2 more days. Authorities learned that McLean was traveling south to Florida, but he never gave Nadine a specific location. Investigators wondered if McLean knew his girlfriend was cooperating with police. She told them that he monitored the news constantly on a portable TV. If they were going to catch McLean, they needed to surprise him and keep his name out of the media. That meant keeping the arrest warrant out of the national system. Back in Washington, Detective Lauren Ledman looked for a way to lure him back to the area.
We were faced with somebody that was mentally unstable, that was out actively shooting police officers. We were kind of at his mercy because he was calling the shots. And the key was is we needed to get him nailed down in the location where we could surround him.
Investigators once again depended on Nadine's help. They advised her to promise McLean a reconciliation if he returned.
Hey, you want to meet somewhere?
McLean said he was interested in the offer, though he wouldn't agree to when or where they would meet again. Investigators worried that they were losing the element of surprise.
We were looking for a little bit of an edge, but that edge was taken away from us. The media found out about it. They broadcast his name, his photograph, and so forth, which really bothered us because it brought us to another heightened level.
They hoped McLean hadn't seen the broadcast. On Memorial Day weekend, McLean called Nadine. He was ready to meet with her. As instructed by the FBI, Nadine suggested meeting at a large shopping mall in Northern Virginia, a place where agents could maintain surveillance without being noticed.
What I do is I'll call you when I get to
McLean agreed to the location. The information was relayed to agents in Washington. Special Agent Al Buckley, in charge of the arrest plan, was notified. He called the FBI SWAT team that had been on standby for several days.
When I heard the information that Mr. McLean was heading back to the Virginia or Washington, D.C. area, I felt that Mr. McLean was coming up to do 2 things, either to kill Nadine and possibly kill an additional police officer.
Agents and D.C. officers arrived at the mall in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. Their first task was to set up a perimeter. They had to be certain that once McLean arrived, he would not slip through. Collectively, the team had decades of experience. This should have been a routine.
Meetings are held before the arrests, and a lot of times there's a lot of joking around just to relieve the tension. I'd have to say that that night was a little bit different. It was quiet, and that's probably the first time in my FBI career that I could just cut the silence with a knife.
The team finalized plans and waited for word that McLean arrived. At the Prince George's County Police Station, where Nadine kept in contact with McLean, the dispatcher relayed information to agents in the field. Agent Buckley got the call. McLean had changed the rendezvous location. The fugitive wanted to meet Nadine in Maryland, nearly 25 miles away from where the SWAT team had assembled. The sudden change of plans was troubling. The call suggested that McLean might have known he was being set up. Wanted cop killer Ralph McLean was on his way to a Greenbelt, Maryland plaza to confront his girlfriend, Nadine. An FBI SWAT team was racing there to intercept him. Since McLean had changed the location from Tyson's Corner, Virginia, investigators suspected the armed fugitive knew Nadine was cooperating with authorities. Special Agent Jay Abbott was gravely concerned.
At the time, we began to sense that he had suspicions of what was happening. And given those suspicions, that added to the sense of urgency even more. We weren't sure that he would actually show up at one of these locations to meet Nadine. He might begin to smell that there was a trap.
As they got closer, agents turned off their blue light and constantly monitored the radio. A police dispatcher relayed updates to agents in the field. He kept them posted on McLean's plans, learned through conversations with Nadine.
1051 to 600 block.
Trying to set Slim up with his girl, but Slim he was on it.
At the mercy of the fugitives' members. After changing the location several times, the team got word that McLean decided to meet at a gas station across from Beltway Plaza. They scrambled to set up a perimeter around the gas station. Agents hoped they would have enough time to secure the area. Once in place, they would wait for McLean to either show up or call Nadine. Detective Ledman took his position in a field across from the gas station. He believed McLean would show up to see Nadine despite suspicions of a trap.
We didn't even know if he really wanted to meet her. We just felt that he was just trying to get in shooting range of her to kill her. Why? Because she was the only ear witness to this shooting of this police officer.
As the team continued to assemble, Nadine remained at police headquarters on the cell phone with McLean. Securing the closest position to the gas station, 20-year veteran agent Billy Christian arrived. The schoolyard across the street offered the best vantage point. If McLean appeared, Agent Christian would be the first to see him. Other team members set up on nearby streets, hoping to spot McLean's car as it approached. Pressure mounted as they waited and watched.
It was very tense. Al Buckley and I were sitting in the vehicle together, just a couple hundred yards away, trying to direct the activity of a number of people. And it was very tense. I remember saying to him when we were in the car, I just hope that we can get him without anybody getting hurt.
Finally, the team was notified that the suspect had called Nadine. He complained that he didn't see her at the gas station. McLean was in the area, but agents couldn't get a precise fix. Investigators believed he was very close.
This particular time, he was whispering, which led me to believe that somebody was close to him, which caused me to look around. You see, was I on top of him and didn't know it?
Hidden behind a small hill, Detective Ledman checked the gas station again. But he still didn't see McLean. Scanning to his right, the detective could see Christian's car. From his position, Christian also surveyed the area, but he too saw no trace of the fugitive. At that point, a local officer out on his regular patrol approached Christian's car from behind. The patrolman, unaware of the arrest plan, thought the agent's car seemed suspicious.
Kill Christian.
So I'm gonna blame Greenbelt police for the FBI agent getting shot. These dudes, like anybody knows Greenbelt police, they is petty. Like they pull everybody over, they press everybody, like they just petty. You know what I'm saying? So this particular night, they see this car sitting there. There's an FBI agent on a sting for a cop killer. But they want to inquisite and see who he is. They pull up, hit the lights. Once they hit the lights on the FBI agent, that let the cop killer know, all right, this is undercover. I'm being set up. So I'm going to go ahead and go out with a bang. Let's go back to the footage again.
To his credit, realized and recognized the danger that the officer was in and exited his vehicle, walked to the vehicle and showed him his credentials. That action probably identified Bill Christian to Ralph McClain as a law enforcement person.
The officer turned off his lights and pulled away from the scene.
At that point, it was too late. Greenbelt police done blew the man cover. The FBI agent now is sitting duck. So, you know what I'm saying? Greenbelt police, y'all be ashamed of yourself. It's your fault the FBI agent got murdered that night.
Resumed his surveillance. When investigators watched for McClain, he was watching them. The element of surprise and the tactical advantage was McClain's. Well camouflaged in dark clothes, he surveyed the car where Agent Christian sat waiting and watching. He advanced slowly and deliberately on Christian's position. Agents knew he was out there, somewhere. Anxieties ran high since McClain's calls to Nadine had stopped. The cop killer continued to advance, with Christian's gaze fixed on the gas station. McClain stalked the agent. FBI agents and DC detectives surrounded a gas station in Greenbelt, Maryland, waiting for cop killer Ralph McClain to show himself. The arrest team knew he was close, but they didn't know where. McClain was advancing on Agent Billy Christian from the shadows. Christian heard something, turned to look, but saw nothing. He heard it again, glanced around, but no one was there. McClain's low profile hid him below the agent's line of sight. The killer continued to advance on his unsuspecting prey. Rising just beyond the agent's line of sight, McClain lifted his Mac 11 machine gun and aimed it at Christian. Muzzle bursts ripped through the night air. Christian slumped in his seat. Detective Ledman spotted McClain sprinting into the woods and called for backup. The detective pulled the bleeding agent from the car, laid him flat, and made a second call for assistance. Agents Jay Abbott and Al Buckley were among the first to respond.
We heard a call come over the radio of shots fired, and that the subject is running. When we pulled up on Billy Christian's car, We realized that Billy had been shot. The window had been blown out.
Detective Ledman tried to help the fallen agent before rescue units arrived.
He had been hit on the blind side to his left at a 45-degree angle. He had been hit several times. And he was dead.
The cop killer had claimed another life.
This person had just killed a colleague, not just a colleague, but a good friend, a mentor to some of us. He had been around for a long time, a 20-year agent. And to have this happen was enraging.
Units from several jurisdictions responded instantly. A Prince George's County officer arrived with a police dog and started to hunt for McLean in the dark.
I remember him running up to Billy's car. I remember him looking at Billy and sniffing at the door area and then turning around and trying to make a beeline back toward the school.
The team tore off into the darkness with the dog and their semi-automatic weapons. They didn't know if they were walking into another trap.
We started into the wooded area. I had my flashlight out, and I remember just clicking on my flashlight on and off, because at that point I was afraid that if I kept the beam on, that Mr. McLean would be able to focus in on either one of us.
The darkness worked in McLean's favor.
We went into the woods in an attempt to at least try to locate which way he went or where he went. And it was probably an error in judgment to do that when I look at it in retrospect, but that's how high the emotions were at the time.
The team pressed on, but McLean had enough of a lead to plan a deception.
As he ran away from the scene after just shooting Bill Christian, he had the wherewithal to call 911 and report that he saw a man with a gun leaving the area in a vehicle. This was an obvious attempt to try to throw those of us who were in pursuit in another direction, to try to aid in his escape.
Tracing the call, agents knew he was still in the area, but they didn't know exactly where. It appeared the fugitive cop killer had evaded authorities once again. He ran through the parking lot of the nearby plaza. The team was infuriated by the senseless murder of Billy Christian. They steeled themselves to continue the pursuit. Agents and local investigators alike vowed to stop the cop killer before he killed again.
Anger was probably the biggest feeling that I had that night. Frustration. I was frustrated that we're all not going home tonight. Billy has to stay here.
As agents Buckley and Abbott continued to track the fugitive's path through the woods, Detective Ledman received a call from investigators positioned in the parking lot of the plaza.
Mr. McLean had run and gotten behind a store and had a large ramp that leads up to the back of the store where there was 3 trailers, and he had secluded himself behind those.
McLean opened fire on pursuing officers. They took cover on the ground and returned fire. Emerging from the woods, agents Abbott and Buckley saw officers being fired upon. They pulled their guns and joined in the fire. McLean was dug in and well armed. Officers were pinned down. No one knew how to get to him without losing another life. FBI SWAT team member Jerry Babel arrived on the scene. He aimed at the fugitive, but didn't have a clear shot. He saw an opportunity to flank McLean and maneuvered to his right. police and agents traded fire with the cop killer, Bammel remained hidden from McClane. Then he stepped out from behind a dumpster and began firing on the shooter from the opposite side. From his position, Bammel noticed that McClane had a possible escape route.
The loading dock ended with a railing and then a 10-foot drop wall. And I realized that McClane could conceivably get over that wall and flee into the lower parking area where there were no agents or officers at the time.
Bammel blocked McClane's exit with gunfire. Now McClane was receiving fire from two different positions. He swung around and sprayed right through the back of his head. The agent returned fire. McClane was hit. Agents and officers continued firing. McClane fired one more round. Then there was silence.
I waited a moment, and then there was a call out, something like, "He's down, he's down."
Bammel hesitated before advancing on McClane's position to be sure this wasn't another trick. While officers and agents waited in the lot with guns at the ready, Agent Bammel made his way alongside the trailer, approaching the motionless figure. Another agent advanced on the opposite side. As they moved in, an officer yelled from the darkness that he saw movement. He was going to fire two more rounds towards McClane.
As soon as he yelled that, I yelled, "Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot," because I was immediately concerned of the fact that we had placed ourselves into a deadly crossfire situation.
It was over. McClane had shot himself with a 9mm pistol, the same weapon he had taken from Officer Novobilski, who he murdered a month earlier. The cop killer was dead, but the price was steep.
This person, the subject, had one goal in mind, in my opinion, and that was to kill police officers. And why, I will never know, but it was apparent to me that that was what he had decided to do for whatever reason at some point in his life.
So this the area where the shooting took place. I know because I worked here at the mall. I don't know what they talk about on this video. They ain't trying to tell y'all the truth, but it happened here. You see this little half a trailer? We used to keep things like, like shovels and stuff for like winter, like when the season changed. That's where we, keep everything at. And then this here, this was, both of them was about here. Like both of them were side by side. Slim got killed. Like no lie, like I worked here. Like I had to clean all this up out here every day. Slim got killed like right about here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take you all the way around and show you like everything. Like I'm gonna give y'all the full breakdown. You know what I'm saying? The reason I can give you that breakdown because I worked inside the mall for maintenance. Like, you know what I mean? So you come down here, let me show you where Slim came from and how it all took place. Now back in the day, all this wasn't here. Like, you know what I mean? All this new since 9/5. This wasn't here. All you had was that right there. Like you ain't have, you know what I'm saying? So they saying that the shooting took place up there and that he was gonna drop down here. Well, I can tell you he dropped down here. He made it down here because right over there is where he passed away at, right there. And they say it's a self-inflicted gun wound. No, the FBI murdered that man. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I'm just saying, when they say it's a self-inflicted gun wound, that's not the case. It wasn't a self-inflicted gun wound. They killed him. Like, he already knew, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no possible way they bringing that man in alive. Yeah, he done killed the officer in Landover, shot 2 officers in D.C., killed the FBI agent, tried to kill the girl. Like, you know what I mean? They was not bringing in Slim alive. Like, that's a fact. That's the big hill I was telling y'all about. See them lights up there? So that's like a bus parking lot where they park their buses. You know what I'm saying? And then right next to it, you got back in the day, it used to be Greenbelt Middle School. Well, that's where the FBI agent got shot at, and he ran down through where the buses was. Down through here, I'm gonna get a better look. So this the hill I was talking about. Like up there, that's where all the buses, everything be at. I don't know what's going on up there now. That's where the FBI agent got killed at, up there at Greenbelt Middle. And like I said, he ran down this hill here and ended up going that way. He came from down up that way. He came down here and jumped down here and ran that way. That's the bus stand. That's like the front side of the bus stand. You know what I'm saying? Back behind that, this the gas station right here that he was supposed to meet his girlfriend at here at this gas station. And then over there is the Greenbelt Middle School, and back over there, like back in that corner, that's where the FBI agent got killed at, right back over there. He was sitting over there trying to look, and like I said, man, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. You know what I'm saying? It was a sad video. Them people had to lose their life. You know what I'm saying? Oh, because man, mental health issues. Mental health is a real issue out here. If you know somebody going through mental health, or you know what I'm saying, know of a situation, man, say something. You might save their life, or you might save somebody else's life. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying it being sentimental. I'm just saying it being real. Like, mental health is a real issue out here. Salute to y'all, man. Y'all stay safe. Stay safe and sucker free. I'm out.